everyone, welcome to
Fika for Life.
My name is Edward Thomas and my co-host is...
Linh.
Oh. I don't know what to do with you.
I'm just me. Just let me be.
Well, that's the problem. I think we should lock you up. Well, today, Lynn, I think that we should talk about how to dump people.
I thought it was about rejecting.
Yeah, that's rejections, to dump them.
Okay, but are we talking about advances, or are we talking about dumping?
No, okay. So let's clarify. So,
we got a request.
Someone contacts you somehow, some way, smoke signals or pigeons or whatever. You know,
all the pigeons all the time.
And all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I'm really interested in you," and it's like, "Hey, Lynn, I've been watching you for a long time, and I know that we work together, but I really it's not that creepy."
Yeah.
It's only okay. Oh, but anyway, so Lynn, I've been watching you for a long time, stalking you, and so I really would like for us to go on a date because I really want to get to know you better. Mm-hmm. Problem is, Lynn, you got a boyfriend. What do you say?
No.
Okay, that's a little cruel. I mean, can't you give me a little break?
I could say, oh, that's so nice of you. You're a really nice guy. Unfortunately, I'm already in the... I don't think that it would happen to me, though.
Why not?
Because I always drop the bomb really early.
No, but I've seen lots of guys. Like at church, I see some guys like drooling over you. You go past and they're like, "Oh,
no.
Who's that girl?" And I'm like, "Dude, she's married that guy over there." And like, "Oh, the big, tall Swedish guy?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "He's really violent."
No, you're just making up
Okay,
stuff.
I'm just making stuff
Yeah,
up.
I'm like,
I want you to feel good. Come on.
By lying to me?
No, by polishing the truth so it shines
but
more.
Actually, I remember I was in another church and Jonas wasn't there. I was just there. And there were two guys from an African country. And they
saw you and they were just like...
Well, I was around with someone else and we were talking about they had some weird expectations about women have to stay at home once they're married and like really not selling themselves well, I guess. And I felt like how they were advancing,
right.
You know, like this, and trying to flirt or whatever, like really weird.
Yeah.
And then I dropped like the bomb and just incorporated my husband somewhere there. Like,
by the way, I am married.
No, like something like, yeah, and my husband does this and this. And then you could immediately see their face. Like
really?
The face said, "Oh, you're married."
Aha.
And then the conversation like went down a notch. Like it was not as interesting anymore.
So actually what you're trying to say is that someone's like, "Woo, red hot mama." And so like
they didn't know I had children either.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean you're a mama. It's just
I
a red
know,
hot
I
mama
know,
just is a way of saying, Lynn.
Nice lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandwich lady,
What's wrong with sandwich ladies?
The sandwich lady makes my food, so she must be really nice. Okay, but anyway. And so they were like interested, and then all of a sudden when they figure out because you dropped the bomb, it sort of explodes all over the place, like egg on the face.
What do you mean explode all over the face? I mean, I spared them from embarrass themselves in a certain
expectation.
way.
They're probably thinking like, "Oh my gosh, it's like so amazing. Thank you, God." And now it's like,
but now
it's like the devil.
But now that disappointment thing could happen internally instead of like building up this expectation and then finding out from somewhere else or after a couple of days or even right before asking me out that I was not available. So I don't know. I think that's a good strategy. So that's why I feel like if you have a partner, it should not like accept this person's super eager and ask you out on the very first encounter you're having.
I mean, there are people out there who are pretty desperate.
Yeah, definitely.
Or just, I mean, sometimes, like if you don't know, obviously, I guess you see someone, you find them really exciting, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I've got to just take the chance because, this is like an answer to prayer. Woo, the sparks are flying, fireworks, the rabbits jumping across my path.
But didn't we give that advice also to people when they were starting to date or when they were trying to find dates that you shouldn't wait too long and also finding out things
that's
like...
why we're making people desperate, because we're telling them, oh, you shouldn't wait too long. You should, declare your intentions. And so they do that, and then they get rejected. And they're just
but it's really weird because
I should
those
listen
things...
to Lynn and Ed because they don't know anything.
But I always think that you should do your research. Like you're not just asking some random person out. You're probably...
Really?
That's
how I found my wife. I just went down the street and I was like, would you marry me? Would you marry me? Would you marry me?
And then someone said, sure.
And she said, sure. I was like, oh, I found the woman. Thank you, God.
No, but I think if I would find someone really attractive and I'd like to date them, I would try to find out about them beforehand.
You think through things way too much.
Yeah.
You got to be more spontaneous. You got to be more like, let's take a chance.
I did, and I ended up with my husband.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
First chance I'm getting, just off the market immediately. So boring. Nothing. I didn't get to do anything of this crazy stuff.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Jeez. You wish you had been on the meat market more, huh? Well,
no, I don't think I would have done well to the others.
No,
I think I would rave that place.
Exactly. It's just a bunch of broken hearts. People in the corner. I met Lynn, but she broke my heart, and I'll never date again. Like, okay.
Oh my god!
You need therapy, man. I'm not that expensive. Come here. Yeah, but I think that the whole idea is that. So if you there's different ways to reject people. One way is. Yeah,
a more and a less painful way.
I don't know. I think you just enjoy the pain. You're like
the cruel or the kind way.
Like cracking your knuckles. You're like, I've been waiting for someone to ask me out for a long time.
Okay,
so I can just crush them. Yeah.
Okay. Someone asked you out.
So someone
you
asked
were
you out.
Married.
So yes. So if you're involved with someone, and someone asks you out, the first thing you should think about is like maybe. Are my boundaries clear enough? Like, do people know? And then
that's
you have
what I said about dropping the bomb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, and especially ladies out there, if a guy's interested in you, you have to remember not to give him any false hope.
Yeah,
so
like I'm in a relationship, but things maybe happen.
Yeah, like so we were talking to a friend, and she was saying that she had a colleague who got an offer from someone, and so a guy made an advancement, and then she was like, well, I mean, I didn't feel anything. Why are you supposed to be feeling something? Because she's with someone, so she has a boyfriend. Yeah,
she has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
why are you supposed to be feeling something? Like, if you felt something, you'd be like, oh,
let's go on a date.
Well, I mean, I did get the spark. My heart went pitter patter, and I just have to explore and find this out.
Wow, that's really bad. So, if I would follow those kind of feelings, I'll be, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I'd be in adulterer all the time.
Oh my gosh.
You can't follow your feelings. That's dumb.
I need to pray for you more often.
That's dumb. Just don't. I mean, you can have a weirdo crush, but then just move on.
Can you have a weirdo crush?
Huh?
What is a weirdo crush like?
A weirdo crush.
it's like I'm really in love with your finger.
No, it's like unreasonable feelings towards someone you probably don't even know. Just having like I don't know, just making up ideas or fantasy in your head, and then you just follow that, and you're like, ooh, but it's not real, but you just entertain this weirdo thoughts.
That was a really weird thought.
Yeah, I thought it. Anyway, yeah.
All right, so you can't say things like
you're really nice guy.
Unfortunately, we can't get together.
Oh, unfortunately,
because that means like I really want to, but
I can't.
The ball and chain is keeping me away from you. Or
it's not you, it's me.
Exactly, and I really want to be. I want it to be me, but I'm sorry, but so I think that you have to just like.
How do you put it?
I'm not interested.
But maybe you're interested.
No, it doesn't matter. You should just tell them you're not interested.
But then you're telling people to lie.
I'm telling people to close off the avenue so you don't give people false hope.
But then you're telling them to lie. What if you are interested?
Okay.
But you don't want to? Like, what if you're married and you feel like you are interested in another person? Then you're basically lying if you're telling them you're not interested.
Yeah, because you don't... Okay, so say you're married and you end up having...
An affair.
It's more... No, like you don't have to have an affair, but like it's more than just thinking someone's attractive. You actually find yourself being attracted to this person who you find attractive. And so, yeah, I just lost my train of thought. No, and you find the person attractive, and so the person then asks you out or makes an advancement towards you or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to feed that. You know, we're talking about helping people to stay faithful. And so you don't want to say, well, I mean, I feel something too.
Oh, that's bad.
You know, but, you know, I'm married. But if I wasn't married, I'd really want to be with you.
Oh, no, you can't say that. Don't
because
feed
I
the
mean,
monster.
when I was younger, I would make that mistake. I would tell people like I wasn't interested in someone. And I was like, I'm like, no, I mean, if I was single, I might want to go out with you.
No.
I wasn't thinking like, I guess that false hope makes the person.
hope.
Yeah. So I never say anything like that. Now I'm wiser, then I'm much older, you know? So I just say things like, that's why I think you should say, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm already committed to someone. And so I'm not really interested. And you just shut it down without.
But you're not saying,
getting
but we can be friends.
Nope. Nope.
You get feelings for me. We can't even
unless
be
we're already
friends.
friends. If we're already friends,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, well, listen.
That's weird.
No, I told you. I think I mentioned that before years ago. That when I first moved to Sweden, I had a really good friend who told me that she was falling in love with me. And so
Was she married?
No, I was.
You were. But you okay. Sorry.
And so I'm like, well, you know, I'm a Christian, and you know, I'm married, and you know that, like, I'm not looking for anything, and if I've done something that leads you on or something,
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry because that was not my intention. She's like, no. She goes, you haven't done anything. It's not like you haven't made an advancement or anything. It's just that I've always dreamed of being together with a man who would respect me, a black man. Because I'm in Sweden and can't get enough. No, but she's like, I've always dreamed about being together with a man who's so kind and respectful and stuff like that.
That's so
and she
sad.
goes, you're the only guy who's ever been respectful and nice to me. And I'm like, oh, well, in that case, I understand. Of course, I am the ultimate. Exactly. I am God's gift to women. No, but I told her, I said, well, I mean, you know, we were friends and everything, and you really helped me out with a lot of Swedish and stuff like that. If you don't feel that you can maintain that
boundaries,
so if you can't control that, and you feel this is too difficult, then we have to end our friendship. I'm like, because I'm not interested in anything like
other
that from
than
you. Friends,
friendship.
hey, that's okay. I said, but I'm not going to cheat on my wife, and I'm not interested in cheating on my wife. She goes, I know, but I just felt like I had to tell you. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you told me so that we can try to fix this. But it ended up that we actually didn't remain as friends.
No.
Because it was too hard on her being such a perfect specimen of a man and not being able to touch or taste.
Yes. Only looking with your... I'm usually telling the kids, you're looking with your eyes, not with your hands. Yeah. You know, I have 4 kids at home.
Really?
Yeah, because Nomi's cousins are here too.
Ah,
and when they're like... for cake or something, they're looking and you're looking with your eyes, not with your hands.
Wow.
I'm like,
man, I want a different mommy. I want a mommy that says, here's the cake, eat it all. You don't need anything healthy.
Okay, so this is about people. Now we're giving advice to people who are in relationships.
Yeah. So if someone comes on to you, or someone, you know, is interested in going on a date, you just shut it down directly. Because otherwise you are, whatever hope you give, you just leave yourself open for an affair.
And if you feel like, oh, but this person seems so much more interesting and blah, blah, I'm tired of my man or whatever, then you should either fix that or leave that relationship before you go on a date with anyone else.
That would be advisable. I mean, like leave the person you're with and then...
But you know, when I was younger, before I met Jonas, before I met Jonas...
here comes the juicy part.
I was dating a guy who was in a relationship. Before I was a Christian, so don't stone me.
Mike, I have to judge you now.
But the thing is, we never went further than just going on walks and going on dates. Yeah. Like, I don't know, eating together or going to a swimming hall or whatever.
Was he your sugar daddy?
No.
Oh, okay.
Didn't pay for anything. I paid myself. Yeah, but we really enjoyed each other's company and all of that stuff. Yeah. And this
Interesting.
what my point was, this guy was always complaining about his girlfriend, how she wouldn't like pay attention to him, and she would only be with his friends, and how unhappy he was, and well, yada yada yada, and how I was so great, and he was going to break up with her, and
Wow.
soon he's going to be with me, and whatnot. Yeah.
Let's
So-
think you could have been married with the loser instead of your husband that you have now.
Oh my gosh, that's bad.
You were so close to ruining your life.
I know, right? Definitely. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
But what happens, like, so sometimes when people aren't clear, so that maybe you get involved with someone and they tell you,
All
well,
kind of things.
I used to be married, but now I'm divorced, but they're only separated.
Dun, dun,
And then all of a sudden
dun.
the other person comes back into their life. And you show up for like lunch, or a date or something, and all of a sudden, oh no, you can't be here right now. Why? Because my wife is here. Doo, doo, doo. What do you do then? You leave.
You leave and you never have contact with this person
Exactly.
again. Because this is not a nice place to be.
Okay, but what happens if you're single and you're not interested in someone?
Well, it should be pretty similar approach. Sorry, I'm not interested.
Maybe then you could like let them down a little easier. Say, well,
If there is a different time and space, maybe.
okay, now never mind. Shut it down. When I just hear that, I'm just like, oh no, that's just no, just shut it down. Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to giving that rejection to someone, I think that you shouldn't be that worried about hurting the other person's feelings. I think it's better.
No,
it's better that you hurt the person's feelings.
Then let them live in false hope
Yeah,
forever.
exactly. Like, you just want to have clear boundaries, and people should know where the
line
boundary is,
is,
where the
yeah.
line is, that they're not supposed to cross.
What about people who are really like they're not, what's it called? They
Or
don't.
persistent?
Yeah, like they don't seem to get it.
No, but if you don't get it, then I'm like, okay, now you have to pull out.
The big guns.
Yeah, you're like, okay, listen here, stupid.
I have an STD. Leave me alone.
But that's just implying like, if I didn't have an STD, we could sleep together. I mean,
What? No, like
if you tell someone,
you're
I
trying
have
to.
an STD, so I don't want to be with you. But
No, it's like scaring them off or whatever. No. I was just joking. This is not serious advice. Don't say that.
okay, for everyone who's going to use that one, let me tell you, be careful. It's a loaded gun.
Okay, how would you do it then? For people who are super persistent, you told them no, or you're not interested, but they just keep advancing and asking and like me sneaky.
When I was a single dad, there was this guy who
It was a guy.
Yeah, it was a guy who said he was really attracted to me, and I said, well, and I said, oh, thanks for the compliment, but I'm not into guys. I'm only into girls. Are you sure? Like,
Are you sure?
Have you tried a guy? I'm like,
Ugh.
I'm like, "Ew,
I don't
what?
wanna
No,
try a
I haven't
guy."
tried a guy. I'm like, I'm not interested. He's like, well, you never know until you try one. Maybe you should try a guy. Obviously, if you were with me, I would take really good care of you. I'm like,
Oh, the sentence. I would really take
I'm like,
care of you.
I'm
Like,
like, did you not understand? I'm not interested. He's like, but here, just let me give you a little massage, and let me show you a little bit what you're missing. And I was like,
no.
I'm like, is this what girls go through with persistent guys?
Yeah.
And so, I happen to have a knife in my car because I'm like, listen, I have my sons with me because then I was a single dad, and the boys were only 1 and 2 years old, and I'm like, listen, I have my kids with me. I'm not interested. Please,
Leave,
we're
yeah.
supposed to be friends and stuff. You're really. I'm not going to be friends with you if you keep this up. And he just kept up, and he's like, listen, he was, at least just give me a hug. I'm like, listen, you take one step towards me, I will cut your balls off. And so I took my knife out, and I actually had to threaten him with the knife.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And then I told my other friend, I'm like, yeah, your friend out there, he was really coming on to me. He said, yeah, I think he really likes you, Ed. I'm like, but I
but
told him I
that's
wasn't
not-
interested. I told him I didn't want that. And he kept trying to make advances at me and stuff. And he was really trying to pressure me. And so I had to pull a knife on him. He's like, what? He's like, you don't do stuff like that. I'm like, hey, I felt threatened.
Well, you can't do it in Sweden, I don't think so.
Well, Not if they have a camera.
Well, nowadays
So-
everyone has a camera,
Exactly.
so
No, so I mean, so in that case, I felt like it was beyond just persistent. Like the person wouldn't stop, and I think that sometimes
harassing.
you have to
them.
exactly, and so you have to really like drop the hammer, put your foot down.
Yeah,
because
if you let
because if they're not listening, they're not respecting your boundaries. Anyone who does not respect your boundary is not your friend.
they're just going to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And they're going to push, and you might end up in a situation where you can't push back,
Exactly.
or where you can't, like, you end up in a situation where you don't have control. So don't like dismiss this kind of things like, oh yeah, he's just really liking me or whatever. You have to be really clear. And I know it takes out some fun from this weirdo game that people are playing with the yes and no and yeah. And
And especially like if
so,
you know you're not interested in someone, but you
keep
like
it
the
on.
tension.
Yeah.
You like, oh wow, like
Someone
I know people
likes
who
me.
love it when people like treat them like for lunch and
Yeah.
take them out and do all these fun things.
Make them feel good.
Yeah,
Tell them
exactly.
all these compliments.
And they know
like,
that they're totally uninterested, and they're just like stringing this poor sucker along.
poor sucker. Yeah.
Just like wow. So that's really men and women.
Yeah.
If you're already together with someone,
Pull plug.
pull the plug. Don't mess around. Don't try to soften the blow. Let it come. Let it fall as hard as it can, because you don't want to leave any false hope for anything. And if you're not with someone and you want to, but you're not interested, it's the same thing.
You're not
Be clear.
interested.
You're not interested. If you're not interested, you're not interested. If you don't know, you don't know. But when you say you don't know, you're just asking for more attention and more trouble.
You're giving them false hope, because
Yeah.
even though if you don't know, then you probably are not interested that much. If you don't know,
if you don't know, you're probably interested, but you don't. I mean, because
No, I
if
think
you're not interested, you're uninterested. But if you don't know, you might be interested.
but then
but-
you could go on a date.
But since you don't know,
But then you could go on, if you feel like you don't know, then you could go on a date to find out.
yeah. But what
Don't
if? I mean, everybody messes up sometimes. So how many days do you have to go on?
One.
Go on before you know if like
One.
No, you got to give them at least 2 days.
Really? And
I
then
don't know
you're
why
like,
I
no.
said that, because I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. But didn't you say, like, if you would go on a date and the first 5 minutes would be a disaster, you said you would
I would
leave.
I would end the date. Yeah,
Why wouldn't you give it them another chance, like the next 5 minutes?
because they blew the chance they got.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You only did one. You're like, no, you should have at least
But it's different
two.
from me than for our listeners. I don't expect them to be hardcore like me.
The hardcore like you. Okay. So I think if you're feeling like you're a really nice person, usually women are, and feel, no, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or I don't want to break their heart. I think it comes from the attention you're getting and the feeling that, or you maybe are not comfortable with people not liking you, or feeling that you are, too harsh or whatever. But if you don't want to go with people on a date, you have to be, especially with guys, you have to be
Yeah.
pretty clear.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
And
a
they
lot of
survive.
guys just won't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, maybe she's
She wants to
shy.
play,
And
yeah.
it's so hard because so many women. I hate to say this, but a lot of women. There's also men, but a lot of people like to play the game.
Yeah, I
So
told
you want to play
Like,
hard to get, and you want to.
It's the attention thing, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, and you're kind of like you want to keep the person interested, so you don't want to seem too open and too desperate, and so
yeah.
you're kind of playing with their feeling.
You're like, no.
No, exactly, and I think that what they say, clarity is clarity, honesty, openness works every time.
Unfortunately, it's not as fun, but the game
No.
is deceitful. So remember
Yeah,
that.
we don't want people being deceitful. We want you to be open and honest about how you really feel.
In times, I think the time you will gain in the end, like,
Yeah.
save
definitely.
time from your life, not with the stupid games. So everyone, I hope you know now how to kindly reject someone, not feeling bad about yourself for doing so.
Yeah. And definitely do not, just to be nice to people,
No.
don't like keep them around just because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Hurt their feelings.
That's not nice. You're not a nice person.
Not because you want to hurt their feelings. You're hurting their feelings because you're telling them the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth hurts.
And sometimes you cannot take responsibility for other people's feelings.
No, definitely.
No.
Well, this was pretty exciting, Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
We should decide what we're going to talk about next.
Well, we can talk about this after ending this. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you have any comments or ideas, please send us a message to fikaforlife@mail.com. Fika, F-I-K-A. This was the Fika for Life podcast with Linh and Edward Thomas, and we hope to hear you again.